All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts. Today is episode 284. Today's the 22nd of April 2020. So we're still going strong here. We got the whole team and we are going to jump into questions. But real quick, I wanted to say if you're watching us live, I'm going to have a link down below. The battle plan version 4.0 is getting ready to hit the streets as of next week. But if you're watching this in time, you're going to have a chance to get in on the pre-launch and get special access along with some extra goodies and possibly a discount. But there's definitely a deadline on this. You've got to hop on before Monday, which would be, let me look at my calendar real quick. That would be the 4th. So you've only got a few days. So hopefully you're watching this live or you're catching up this week. But you can find that link below and hop on that. So with that said, we've got a couple other things to cover, but I wanted to say hi to everybody real quick. So let's start at the bottom, work our way up. Chris, how you doing? You there?
Yeah, I'm doing excellent. Weather is good. Corona is like disappearing. So like things are open and stuff. So quite happy here.
Nice. Good stuff. Well, Marco, how about you? The weather looks, it looks nice. It looks maybe sunny a little bit.
Heavy hitter, man. This is heavy hitter weather. So when you get with the plan, this is the type of shit that you can get. Otherwise, you got to go with what you got, man. What can I say?
Very nice. Had myself muted while I was doing some typing. Everyone watching live, I just put the link for the battle plan for the early access list. Just click on that and get access when it comes out. Hernan, gonna roll over to you next. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm wearing my Semantic Mastery swag. And doing good, man, doing good. Business is booming. Everything is moving on the right direction. Happy to be here, so I'm good.
Cool. All right, Bradley, how you doing, man?
How come your shirt's not as worn as mine? Mine's been worn enough to where it's fading. So
it's all in the secret on how you wash it, man.
No, it's just because I work so hard at my computer. It just wears hard on shirts.
Working out at the desk again.
Things are good, man. The weather's nice here, and well, they're as good as they can be considering. But yeah, I'm still happy and healthy, so that's good enough for me.
Good deal. Well, good deal. I'm glad to hear that. We are going to get into it. We got a bunch of questions today, but real quick, wanted to cover a few other areas. Of course, we've talked about the battle plan, but also if you're an agency owner or a consultant, you want to get more clients, you want to grow your revenue, and you want to scale your team, then you need to be checking out 2xyouragency.com if you haven't already joined, or if you're a mastermind member, of course, you get access to that for free. If you are a mastermind member and you want access, just hit up support@semanticmastery.com and we will get you in there. And then last but not least, if you haven't yet, mgyb.co is the place to get your done-for-you services, whether it's press releases, RYS drive stacks, syndication networks, link building, all sorts of good stuff, as well as some great training over there. So we've done training with Rob. There's a bunch of webinars, best practices, just some really good stuff over there at mgyb.co. And then last but not least, of course, subscribe to us on YouTube because we like knowing that you've got access to our good information and it makes us feel good. I'm not going to lie. We look at the numbers sometimes and we're like, ooh, the subscriber count's going up. So help us out in that way and we'll do the same for you and keep putting out great information.
I was just looking, before you go on, I was just looking at the analytics in YouTube and our viewers are 50-50 subscribed and not subscribed. So you guys who are not subscribing, my question to you, and please drop it in a video, drop the comment in here. Why aren't you subscribing to our channel, to all of that good information? That's what keeps us going, right? Without you guys supporting us, subscribing to our channel, getting notifications when the videos are coming on, when we're coming on live, then this would all be pointless. So come on, it's half of you that are watching this video that have not subscribed to our channel. So please do so.
Good stuff. And I've got one last thing, and then I'm going to turn it over, see if anyone else has some wrap-up comments. But you guys probably saw the post on Facebook, or I believe I've had 2 of them already, and then a couple of emails. But we released the video, well, it's not a short video. I was about to say a video series, but a video-based training for people who are looking to start their agencies or consulting businesses. I know there's a lot of obstacles to it, and a lot of us, get stuck, some analysis paralysis, or you think that the obstacle is bigger than you are. are bigger than it is, and you're not sure how to get around that. So we just recently put that out as of this Monday. And there's a cool add-on you can get for that, which is just a real to the point additional video that each of us talking about what our single biggest mistake is as we've done consulting or agencies, and what we would do differently in order to avoid that, because that's some real blood, sweat, and tears material right there. So I'll put the link down below if that's something you're wanting to do, maybe right now with the way the world is, and you're looking at, hey, I'd like to be starting my agency, or I'd like to be doing some consulting on the side to be generating some revenue. Highly suggest checking this out today and seeing how you can do that and basically shortcut, save yourself some time, money, and potentially some pain points there.
Great.
All right, guys. Other than that, anything else before we dive into questions?
Nope. I think that's
Yeah,
it.
just real quick on my end, guys. Every time we upload the battle plan, it's a big ripple. And the reason why is because the stuff that is in the battle plan will allow you to get the fastest results as fast as possible with the least amount of steps and work involved on your end. That's the main goal of the battle plan. So go ahead and subscribe for the early notifications, because we're going to be launching really, really soon. And every time we do so, we get a lot of people in the, in the queue. And it's going to be pretty inexpensive as well, because we're going to give you the help that you guys need to succeed with your projects right now. So go ahead and get on the pre-launch list so we can get you a lot of good stuff, a lot of bonuses. So.
Yeah, and real quick about that, the battle plan, this version, for 2020 or whatever we're calling it, V3 or whatever, it's different from our previous editions in that it's more streamlined because of how we've kind of developed the SEO Shield and the components and such. So it's a lot easier to implement our methods no matter what type of project you're doing: local, regional, national, global, affiliate, e-com. It doesn't matter what it is. It applies to the same way to each and every type of business now, or online project. And so our battle plan is definitely a lot more streamlined now. Also, and you'll see when you get it, but we've also really made it a lot more simplified to where we're pointing to additional training when needed, but mainly to MGYB for done for you services, and or to other training videos that are just free on our YouTube channel. So it's there's no links pointing to external places now that we don't recommend anymore. It's been completely updated. And I think it's a simplified version of it, but it's every bit as effective, if not more effective now than ever before. So with that said, we can get into questions, guys.
Let's do it.
By the way, we're almost at 1 million. We're 40,000 views away from 1 million views on our YouTube channel, which is.
Do we get like some balloons dropping down?
I don't know, but it's pretty cool. I was looking at lifetime analytics for YouTube today, and we're 40,000 views away from 1 million views. So
awesome.
Thought that was pretty cool. All right, here we go. You guys should be seeing my screen, correct?
Yep.
All right, we're going to start with Mohammed's from 7 days ago because I know I didn't get a chance to answer this. We'll start right there. So Mohammed asked, hey guys, I was about to buy a multi-tiered syndication network for a YouTube channel with no money site or anything, just the channel. But I saw your SEO Shield sale. Would a Shield be better for a YouTube channel? I'm leaning towards yes because of the entity building. That's a really good question, Mohammed. That's part of the reason I wanted to answer this, because I don't know. I've never ordered an SEO Shield specifically just for a YouTube channel. I've never tested that. The multi-tiered syndication networks work great for YouTube SEO because it helps to provide all the really good signals that it needs for a new video, especially when they're seasoned. The networks and the multi-tiered syndication network are seasoned, and they've aged a little bit, have relevant content on them. And then obviously if you link build to them, they do most of the heavy lifting as far as SEO is concerned for YouTube stuff. But I've never done an actual SEO Shield specifically to a YouTube channel. And here's why: because usually the YouTube channel is part of an overall entity, right? So it's just part. So the YouTube channel gets included in the SEO Shield build out because it's part of an overall entity. But I've never actually just had a SEO Shield built specifically to a YouTube channel. So I haven't tested that, to be honest with you. I'm curious as to what Marco thinks, whether that would work or not, or what his opinion of it is. But in my, I would say try it. I know the multi-tiered syndication networks work, but I can only assume that the SEO shields would work, but I haven't tested, and I just have to be real clear about that. But it's a good question. What do you think, Marco?
It's not something that I've tested, but it shouldn't be any different than anything else that we build, and let's call it an entity around. But it's actually an entity validator. What you're looking for is to validate your channel. So let's say that instead of your blogging point or your point of syndication being your money site or a free one of the free blogs, right? The Tumblr, the Blogger, wherever it is that you choose to blog from, you choose to blog from, or in this case, vlog from YouTube. Building up your entity shouldn't be any different. Now, the whole thing around this is how do you approach it? Because when you're building schema, you can't build it on the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel it's pre-done for you. Everything is done. You could add your other profiles and still interlink everything through the syndication network, tie in your second tier syndication, and build it up that way. But there would have to be a focal point somewhere else for that entity. And I mean,
You do that with an ID page, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could build the ad ID page, but the ad ID, this is where we go to. Okay, so where's the ad ID going? Is the YouTube channel then going to be also the ad ID? Gotcha. And how do we get the schema worked into the YouTube channel? I mean, this is a test in the making. And one of the things why we went with the Heavy Hitter Club is because we want to test these types of things. So this is a great test in the making. And as a matter of fact, I already wrote it down on my notes of things to do for the Heavy Hitter Club. Is to start a YouTube video, see how we can work the entity around it. I mean, there's no reason why it can't be an S3 and why we can't tag it from there, right? Use the ad ID. And yeah, now I have to kind of figure out, and I'm not going to do this in a free forum, figure out how I'm going to build this entity around this YouTube channel when it's something that Google controls and I can't get into the schema. Maybe we can force schema somehow. I don't know. It involves a whole lot of things. But Muhammad, definitely heavy hitter. If you're not in there already, you should be. And you know, it's a test in the making, and I'll make sure to set it up.
Yeah, and think about that. And I'm kind of thinking through this too, but because I think it would be a great test to use YouTube channel as the primary entity asset, and then try to build that out and see what we could do with it. But one thing I know that you could do with the ID page, for example, is like, you know, YouTube silos, and then you embed the playlist. That could really help too for, you know, pushing power into the YouTube channel through the ID page too. So that would be a really good test. That's something that's the Heavy Hitter Club was made for, you know, so that's awesome. Mohammed, will hopefully you're going to join the Heavy Hitter Club anyways, and then you can see that test when it gets set up. But I think that's certainly worth a good test. And if you happen to do so, Mohammed, let us know how it goes. Okay. Aaron's up. He says, I'm really fuzzy about using Google My Maps. Does it help to create a My Maps with points of interest in the area, then creating lines to my business location to indicate travel distance and a relationship with that location? Yes, that works really well. Now, if you have a storefront business, right, so a business where customers come to your place of business, then yes, you would do it that way, where essentially you would have, you know, your address, because it's not hidden, right? And then you would go from points of interest and then create driving directions to your location. Alternatively, if it's a service area business, you can do it the other way around, which is create driving directions from your business to points of interest, right, within the service area. However, if you're not publishing your address, which if it's a service area business, in 95% of the cases, you're not supposed to have your physical location published for service area businesses, then you could just use something like City Center, or like from, you know, City Center from where your business is located, and use that as kind of the central point with the driving directions going out to the points of interest. The idea here is also to create geo posts on your main money site too, as well. So blog posts that talk about those areas where those points of interest are, right? So you create basically optimized posts, blog posts that are optimized for that particular location. and publish them. And you can actually create location-based silos on your site. You can do it that way too. By the way, these can be like hidden blog posts. In other words, they don't have to be public. They're just used for SEO purposes. And it does work well, because we've done that in the past, or I've done that in the past for Google Maps listings that had been pigeon filtered, which means Google Maps was kind of hiding them, even though there wasn't really a penalty. They were being hidden because they were considered too closely related to a similar business, and Google, for whatever reason, chose another business and would kind of ghost a GMB listing. It was a pigeon filter. And one of the ways to get around that was doing similar to what you're asking about, Aaron, which is doing these geo posts, and that works fairly well. So that's a good question. Anybody want to comment on that?
Yeah, my map as a standalone product in and of, I'm not sure how much power you can get from that. I would recommend starting out with a drive stack and G site and the my map that we build out, and either building out the my map or building out additional my maps, which you would then embed on the money site. Then you could carry all of that relevance through, since everything is tied together. But as a standalone, we had a similar question in the mastermind, by the way, and my answer is going to stand firm that I don't recommend it as a standalone. You could push just so much more power and relevance when you relate everything inside a drive stack and the companion G site, and then inner pages on the G site that target the inner pages on the money site.
Yeah, and to be clear, Aaron, when I say create blog posts, what you do is you would create a blog post about the one particular area that, like, for example, if you've got 5 areas that you service or that you want to target specifically, each blog post would have its own my map with driving directions from your point of, or from the point of interest back to your business, if you're a storefront business, or vice versa if it's a service area business. That, so that you would have literally like 5 different my maps in this example, right? So each one would have its own, and then you can have one my map that has kind of all of them together. But what I'm saying is, for the individual posts that are optimized for one particular location, you would just have that my map on there. And then, like Marco said, but you're better off also including those, mirroring those onto the G site, because again, you can mirror the blog posts onto the G site, embed the blog post in there along with the my map, and then those become link building targets. So, but yes, you can do that kind of stuff, and it does add relevancy. Mike's up. Mike says, hey guys, I want to create a strong main menu for a local service site. I have 7 top main keywords. Is it okay to use only keywords for the main menu? So you're talking about like the main navigation menu. Instead of creating one drop down or link of services that contain all of the keywords, the service types, I want to create the main menu using only service types of keywords. Other links like about us and contact us can be in the footer. What do you think about that? Thanks. Honestly, it really makes no difference in that I'm aware of. There's, drop down menus aren't the best thing in the world for SEO, but they're also, they're logical for user experience, because it would make sense to not clutter up if you got 7 different services and you're going to try to push them all into the main navigation bar, but then you don't have things that like contact and about, contact us and about us pages and stuff like that up there, and maybe a link to your blog index page and that kind of stuff. First of all, the menu could get rather busy that way. You know what I mean? Like rather crowded. So, and also I think it's important to kind of keep in what people are used to, which would be having those other links at the top of the navigation menu instead of having to go search for them. Not that many people ever go to the about us page or whatever, but I would prefer to keep that like what people are typically used to and just use a drop down. That's what I would suggest. But I don't, I haven't tested to see if one way is better than another. So I couldn't tell you. I just, like I said, for user experience, I think your menu could be rather cluttered that way. And it could also cause people to search for links that they're looking for, if they were looking for contact us, about us, that kind of stuff. So my advice would be to not worry about that. I don't see where the SEO benefit would come from trying to structure it the way that you are. But honestly, I don't have any definitive answer for that. Does anybody else?
No, I don't, and I don't see it, right? I don't see what the difference would be, and this would be kind of difficult to test, because you would need
2 sites
that are the same, targeting the same thing one with this type of menu that he's proposing and one with a traditional menu, and see which one performs the best. Now that kind of testing can take a whole lot of time, and then it turns out that it makes no difference. You just wasted all that time. Well, it's not a waste. It's a test, and it's a perfectly good test. But don't do that until you have time to do the testing. Right now, go with what's working. And traditional menus work just fine. You rank just fine. It doesn't matter. Even some people had questions about the domains, right? Whether use a traditional TLD or a non-traditional TLD, one of those vanity TLDs, and you can rank them both just the same. Yep. You can rank anything just about the same. It's all about the power. It's all about the art, right? Activity, relevance, trust, and authority. That's what it's all about. Everything else becomes like obsolete. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference when you're pushing enough art into whatever it is that you're doing.
Next question. Planning on ordering. Yeah, okay, sorry. I just want to make sure I didn't skip one. Planning on ordering the SEO Power Shield, but after it's delivered, what are the first next steps to powering up? Content for Google, links, etc. Yeah, link building and embeds and or link building packages from MGYB is one of the best next steps. Also, if you once you get the branded stack, mirroring your and I know there's a question further down the page today about explaining what theme mirroring is, but theme mirroring your money site into the G stack, the drive stack, as well as the G site, that's really, really powerful too. Now, I'll be 100% clear. Most of the mirroring that I do is on the G site, and I don't typically always mirror the drive stack, like add additional folders that are. So, for example, if you've got 3 silos on your money site, you would clone each one of your primary drive stack folders and then create them as subfolders, one mirrored for each silo, right? And then from there, you would take all the files in the folder or all the files within the silo folder now and optimize them for your particular keyword set for that silo. And then all the links from inside that would link over to the corresponding pages and posts within that silo on your money site, as well as what you mirror onto the G site, which is the same structure. Now, again, I don't always do that in the drive stack because what I found for a lot of, all I do is local. And so for most local projects, I'm able to mirror onto the G site and accomplish without having to do all the additional work in the drive stack. But in some cases, it does require it because I need the additional push. And so as I always talk about, and we usually recommend, don't, try to get the best results with the least amount of effort, right? So what I do is I mirror my money site onto the G site, and I do that very thoroughly. And then I use my G site as my link building target, embeds and link building target, and just smash the shit out of it with links and embeds all the time. And if I need an additional push, then I will mirror into the drive stack and do it. But right now it's still a manual process on the mirroring. We're so close, guys, to being able to offer the drive stack expansion service inside of MGYB, but it's not available just yet. So that's why I kind of reserve that for only when absolutely needed because of the manual component. But, again, once we have the ability to do that in MGYB, there's no reason why I wouldn't just mirror the shit anyways. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think link building, first of all, theme mirroring is the first thing you can do is just start building links to your drive stack and your G site when you get it back. That's hands down one of the first things I always do. But then while the links are being built, you can start to mirror, set up the theme mirroring on the G site as well as the drive stack if needed. And then once that's done, now you have additional link building targets for your next batch of links. Does that make sense? Comments? Nobody. Okay. Kyle's up next. To break the SEO questioning for a second, I have a sales copy question for one of you. This is probably going to be one for Adam and or Hernan then. If you had the opportunity to place an ad right on the sales page of one of your competitors with no limitations to what it could say or how long it could be, what would you say? I'm an affiliate marketer and I plan on creating my own digital product similar to a competitor. Fortunately, I'm already ranking in spots 1 to 3 for some of my competitors' product keywords via review blog posts. They dropped their affiliate program, so I'm planning to just create my own product and cross-promote on those review posts. How should I word my own sales message to convert as many of my competitors' prospects as possible? Thanks, guys. That's a really good question. I would hand that one over to Hernan and Adam. So Hernan?
Yeah. So I'm rereading the question. Sorry.
It's okay. I actually don't get the technical back part of this? Like I may need to draw a diagram, or can you guys explain it to me?
Yeah. So he's got affiliate review pages ranked for in positions 1, 2, and 3 for a product that he was promoting as an affiliate.
Yeah.
And that product developer has now discontinued their affiliate program. So he's still ranking with those review posts for that product. And since it's his pages, he wants to now link to a similar product that he can get an affiliate commission from that review. So how would you word how would you push people from that page over to the page that you want them to buy the similar product from without, how would you do that? That's what he's saying. How would you write it? What would the copy say?
Right. So so there's a couple of options here, and maybe you wanna test this, but the first thing that comes to mind is to just be honest. We have had that happen in the past in our end. We were offering a service or a product as an affiliate, and we were using that product, and then for some reason the service stopped working, and then we just went ahead and said, hey, this product is no longer available, but if you're looking to achieve the same results, go here and check this out, right? So as long as the product delivers the same result, or as long as the framing is the same, don't be afraid to be upfront and honest, because at the end of the day, people are searching for a solution, right? So if the secondary product that you're now offering, whether it is yours or an affiliate, is providing that solution, then it's just a matter of reframing it from a perspective that, hey, this offer, unfortunately, this offer is discontinued, but we have found an alternative to this, which is this one, right? So if you want to get X without Y, if you want to, if you're looking to get X results, then click here, and then you're sending them to the next product. What would you say, Adam, in this case?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one because we're dealing though too with the organic side. So like if you really did a heavy overhaul, like there's, it might change what you're appearing for. So I might keep the content so long as it makes sense and write like a more alternative to type of introduction and be like, hey, are you looking to learn about this product? Here's a lot of information about it, but this might be a better alternative for you, and do that. I mean, I realize that's really like that would be the lead in, and then maybe you could keep the content. I
was going to say one of two things while you guys were talking. I was thinking about it. One is a purely SEO tactic, which probably isn't allowed or is probably not recommended. Marco would know the answer to this, but do like a 3-second meta refresh. so that when somebody lands on the page with your competitor's your product that you used to, after about 3 seconds, it redirects to a new page through a meta refresh that talks all about your product or service. That could be considered cloaking. Marco, is that yes or no?
That's in that gray area.
Yeah. That's what
right. The user is going with the intent of seeing one thing, but you're serving the user something else. But then again, if you put a pause on that meta refresh, right? You put a timer on 5 seconds so that the user knows you're going somewhere else, man.
Yeah.
You might overcome that. Like, I don't know. I don't know the legalities on that.
Yeah, me neither.
But it doesn't sound cool.
Well, they also have layover plugins that are, again, it's kind of black hat stuff. I mean, we don't typically care about hat stuff, but I'm just letting you know that they have layover plugins where you could literally display one page with the underlying page still, like, it's still there, but the viewer sees a different page. And again, some of these things aren't 100% kosher, but I know people do it and get away with it all the time. So the other option is like what Adam just said. I like what he said, which is you could add just a new, opening or section to the top of the page that talks about, hey, I know you came here to find out about, XYZ product, which there's a thorough, review of it below. However, and then do what Hernan said, which is kind of explain why the new product, which is one that either you develop or another affiliate product, another product that you're promoting, is comparable and similarly good, and why you recommend that now over the other one or something like that. Does that make sense? Because then, like Adam said, you're keeping the content that was ranking anyways, and all you're doing now is adding a new section above that, which shouldn't affect the ranking of that existing page much at all, because if it's already ranking really, really well, you're just updating that page really without, as long as you're not changing that page considerably, like the structure of the page, I think you'd be fine.
Right.
So those are a couple different options. Anybody else?
Now, yeah, I just wanted to say that from an SEO perspective, you can still use that page. And you know how you have these long form articles that they run for a bunch of keywords and, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 word articles, and they are living, breathing things, right? Like you can add content to them. You can, like, on some cases, you might visit the same article like a year later and it will have, like, I don't know, like pieces of content added to it and whatnot. And then, boxes that will take you to different places, because of course we're in the digital marketing space, everything changes so fast. So don't be afraid to do those slight changes to the content, and then follow what Adam just said, is that, just add a box on top and say, hey, this program would allow you to achieve the same results that you were looking for. Click here, Yeah.
I like
Just so people, just so that they're 100% informed. Overlay is another word for cloaking. Cloaking will get you in trouble. Just because others get away with it doesn't mean that you can get by a manual. If you get a manual review and you're cloaking, that's it. You lose everything. It goes bye-bye. So just so everyone's aware and we're clear on what you're doing by overlaying or by cloaking anything.
Yep. And I thought I was clear about that, but thank you for reiterating it. So before we get people contacting us saying, you told me to do it, because that's not what I said. I said, I know that it can be done. Whether you choose to do it or not, it's up to you. And it's probably not a good idea, but I know a lot of people that do that kind of stuff. In the past, I've done local lead gen sites that way, where I'd rank my own site and then use an overlay plugin to show, whoever was buying the leads from me, show their site on top of mine. Mine was the one ranking, not theirs, but those were quite popular a few years ago, those type of plugins. But fortunately, I don't really worry about that anymore. The next question was from Olaf. Says, is there a difference in results with unique spun content in the Drive Stack docs compared to just the same text with different titles and keywords? It's a good question. Marco?
Sorry about that. I was muted. Nope, we haven't seen any difference. That's why we just go with anything we can grab, because it doesn't matter.
Perfect. DCSEO, hey guys, when the shield is in place, generally speaking, how long does it take to see effects? Do I simply throw links at it afterwards? And can I update the NAP when I move to another office in a different part of the city? Yeah. How long does it take for it to start showing effects? It varies. It varies, like, at least my experience is it varies rather wildly between projects. Sometimes I'll see results like in a matter of days. Other times it will be weeks. And it really just depends. Honestly, I don't know what causes that. Maybe Marco can shed some light onto that. But I know that I always see results, but it's a matter. Sometimes, sometimes it's quick. Other times, more often than not, for me, the drive stacks take several weeks before I see considerable movement from them. But as far as we already talked about the best practice, which is next, links, mirroring your G site, mirroring your drive stack, link building and embeds. Those are hands down the best things that you can do. Last question that I'll answer, and I'll let Marco chime in, is can I update the NAP when I move to another office in a different part of the city? Yes, you can. Just keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of, when you make that move, if you have an existing site, this is outside of the drive stack. Yes, you can go in and update your NAP on all your drives files, right? All the files within your drive stack, as well as on the G site. Make sure you're updating your structured data on your money site, all that kind of stuff. So it's all congruent. But you also remember, you got to clean up any citations. And remember when you're publishing content on the web too, like through syndication and everything else, if you have NAP mentioned in those now are all going to cause NAP issues when you do make that change. So just be aware of that. If you're anticipating a move for the business location, then consider that when you're publishing content and things like that, to not include NAP. I'm not saying that you do, but I'm just for other people, like for example, if you have NAP and press releases and such, they get published out on the web hundreds at a time. And now all of a sudden you change. Well, now you've got those press releases count as citations because name, address, and phone number is published, and you can't go update those, right? You can update your organization perhaps, and any new press releases will show the new NAP. but the old ones are still going to be out there. And those are things that you can't update once they're published. So you just got to really keep that in mind when you're doing it. But yes, you can go in and just change your NAP within the Drive Stack, the G site, and everywhere else that you have editor access to. You want to comment on that, Marco?
Yeah, on the first part of that, how long it takes, again, it depends. Different niches react differently. And even within the same niche, I've seen fluctuations where, a week, 2 weeks, and then other times it's like 4 or 5 weeks out, and it's still nothing happening. And it doesn't happen until you run some press releases and some link building. When you start doing some other stuff to power up, it depends game. And Google, I don't know how else to say. Google's broken, and it's so crazily broken that what works one day may work differently the next day, or you'll see that it doesn't work. I was just doing testing. This is where this is coming from, and I ran the test about 6 weeks ago, and I got one set of results, and I just ran it again today because a mastermind member asked a question about it, and I got different data. And so, I mean, the data, if the data isn't consistent, if Google isn't consistent about the results that it produces, then what are we to rely on to say, yeah, it takes this long, or it'll take maybe longer, and in this niche it'll take this long? We can't do that because we're not in control of whatever it is that Google is doing in their servers, right, in that relational database, and how it relates your entity to the rest of the entities in that relational database to give the user the best results. All we can do is like submit our stuff for indexing, build links, press releases, syndicate the content, power up our tier 1 properties, look for other link building, what do you call it? Link building websites, right? Things that are powerful, websites with trust and authority, for those things, so that we can power up our project the best way possible. Other than that, I mean, there's no way to say, yeah, you can get it number 1 tomorrow. If that were the case, I'd be a billionaire right now. If I could predict with any certainty that I could rank within a day. And anyone who's saying that, I'd call them out on it. I'm one of those people. You got to show me, man. You say you can rank in 24 hours for a real keyword. Now, no bullshit, no long tail, 10-word long tail that anybody could rank for. My daughter could probably rank for it, right? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying it goes back to it depends. And that's where I'm going to stay on that.
That sounds like that was a dig against your daughter, man.
She's 18 months, by the way.
Oh, got it. Okay, that makes sense then. I was gonna say. Austin's up. He says, just wanted to say what I've seen so far with the SEO Shield being built for me is literally mind-blowing. Guys, that's one for the testimonial folder. I've built a lot of this stuff by hand before and know the time involved. Signing up for a heavy hitter club, paid club today. Should be enrolled by the time this goes live. Thanks again to all of you. Thanks, Austin Dawn. That was a great testimonial. Thank you very much for that. We did not pay him for that, I swear. So, but thanks, Dawn, and we appreciate that. And yeah, man, if you've been watching, and I know you have because you've been participating a lot, and I know you're in the real estate business as well, it works incredibly well for at least the land business. I can imagine it works just as well for the house business, although that is certainly more competitive than the land business. But it will give you an edge over your competitors. Just remember what we talked about several times today already about how to power that thing up. Don't forget to try to mirror, at the very minimum, mirror your G site to match what your money site structure is, and then embed your G site, or excuse me, your money site pages into your G site. And when you're ready, come join the mastermind, because I've been doing a training on how I do a lot of really cool things with the G site, including tag silo. Well, that's money site stuff, but really cool stuff. And I'm so close now to having my next kind of really big project live that I'm sharing with the silo structure build out, and how I've theme mirrored everything in the mastermind. And my next mastermind webinar is next Thursday. And the site should be live by then. It's taken me almost 6 weeks to build it, but anyways, you should definitely come check it out. It will help your business, I promise. Next are questions from BB, who always posts multiple questions every week. I keep telling you not to post multiple questions. They're getting shorter though. So you are making progress, BB. But this time it's only 3 short questions as opposed to 18 really long ones. Anyways, I'm just giving you a hard time, man. He says, one, is there an update to the Twitter RSS? Twitter widgets are a thing of the past. So what do? I honestly haven't touched Twitter since the last time I developed content about Twitter, which was probably 4 years ago. So I can't answer that. Anybody?
No, I haven't gone in to look at the Twitter RSS feed lately, so I can't say.
Yeah, me neither.
I just don't. I just hate Twitter, to be honest with you. I know it's got some SEO benefits. There's no question it does. I've never ever gave a damn about Twitter, man.
Dude, you know how they have their live platform called Periscope? You know, Periscope is the live platform of Twitter, and there's a lot of people on Periscope apparently.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. And I started going live with Restream because Restream.io will allow you to go live on Facebook, YouTube, and whatnot. And then I started adding networks because, you know, why not? They're free. And I have absolutely 0 viewers on like Twitch, for instance. But Periscope, I got like 50 viewers out of nowhere. I don't know if they're bots, if, you know, it's people that are real, but I got some views. So there might be some benefit over there.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not saying you can't squeeze benefit from Twitter. I know you can. I just never had a desire to do anything with Twitter. It's been years since I've even logged into Twitter, I think. So
he can always go third party, right? There's something called RSS.app, APP, and you can get a Twitter feed right from there. I just used that about a month ago.
Cool, man. You know what? Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about updates, Adam.
What are you talking about?
Well, because we're going to be updating something here soon that RSS, I might want to play with this as part of the update for the new.
Oh yeah,
wow.
We could maybe tease it a little bit.
Tease it a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Syndication Academy.
What?
We're going to be completely updating it and relaunching that. More news to come, but this thank you, Marco, for pointing this out. This is something I will definitely dig into for when I start the development of the Syndication Academy 2020 or version, whatever we're going to call it. So, but that's coming, guys. Can't say when, but it's coming. All right. Next question from BB. Can I submit to English-based RSS directories and non-English RSS channels? Yes. Yeah, because honestly, I don't know that RSS directories, that people actually go to RSS directories, but there's a little bit of SEO benefit. They used to be more powerful than they probably are now. But yeah, and by the way, if you're going to submit to RSS, guys, unless you have a tool that does it, just go to Fiverr and go get RSS submit gigs, and literally just go to Fiverr and search for RSS submit and pay somebody $5 plus the $2 charge. It's like $7 an hour or whatever the hell it is, to have them do it for you. Like, I will submit your RSS feed to over 100 RSS feed directories for $5, guys. So honestly, just pay somebody $5, give them your RSS feeds. In fact, you can, I would recommend even creating a super feed or a spliced feed using something like Damon Nelson's RSS Masher, and then submit that feed. And just pay $5 to whatever it is, $7, I think, with the service fee now, and have somebody else do it, because it's tedious as hell to submit them on your own, and just, let somebody else do it. Okay. Last question. I think RankerX versus FCS Networker, which is better for linking campaign? I understand that GSA is good for 3rd tier and up, and FCS is good for 2nd tier. Where does RankerX come into play? I couldn't answer that. BB, if you want to ask a question about link building tools, I would post that in the free Facebook group, and ask Daddy, our link builder, Kills. He'll come in and comment on that, and he's the one that can give you the best advice on that. I don't run link building tools. I haven't for at least 5 or 6 years, and I don't ever plan on running them again. So I can't answer that. Anybody else have any recommendation?
Yeah, Daddy runs RankerX.
Okay.
I believe that's his go-to tool. I don't think he uses FCS.
No,
And
we stopped using FCS because it became cost prohibitive. They kept raising the rates on it and everything else. So.
And then he uses GSA, but What I say is, if you're building contextual at tier 2, it would be tier 2. Why not build contextuals to the contextuals?
Yeah, agreed. So yeah, again, just asking the free Facebook group. You know, Daddy-O will can help you out with that. The next question was, can you explain what is theme mirroring? I think we did that. I'll kind of run through it again briefly, but whatever your primary money site is, the architecture, right? So the structure of the site. Hopefully you're using silos because they work. What you do is on the G site, you mirror that same structure. So in other words, you create a 1-to-1 ratio of pages on the G site for pages on your money site, right? You don't necessarily have to do that for all the posts, because if your content marketing is part of your SEO strategy, so you're blogging, right? That you don't necessarily have to create a new page every time you create a blog post. There are ways around that. I talk about that again in the mastermind very specifically, how to utilize the G site and benefit from all the blog posts without having to create a separate G site page for each blog post. Okay, so I do talk about that in the mastermind. I can't talk about that right here, but on a conceptual level, for all of like your top of silo pages, for example, so your main product pages or service pages or whatever, you create pages on the G site that mirror same keyword, you know, optimize for the same keyword, everything else. And then you can add content to the page, but all I do is just iframe in my money site pages. So remember, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, right? One G site page for every page on the money site that has SEO value, right? And so I frame that into there. Now, there's some other things that you can add into those G site pages too. For example, if you mirror the same structure in your drive stack, which means when you buy a drive stack from us right now, it's for brand plus primary keyword association. It's about building the entity. Once you get that, you can clone that main folder, which clones everything within the folder, and then make that a subfolder of the main folder, and then optimize all of the files within that subfolder now, title that subfolder for one of your silos, right? So it's optimized for the same keyword. It's mirrored, just like your site structure. Then all of the files within that particular folder can be edited and optimized for the same keyword set as that silo, with all of the internal links, the links from the G site or the drive stack files, pointing back to your money site, the same corresponding silo pages and posts within that silo on the money site, and also to your G site that has now been mirrored. Does that make sense? That's when you can also embed your folders. So like, again, top of silo page on your money site has a mirrored top of silo page on your G site. And now if you have a subfolder from your main drive stack that has been optimized for that particular silo, now you can actually embed that folder and the files in that G site page. Does that make sense? So that becomes your link building target. The G stack or the G site, the drive stack, and the files and folders and files, all of those become your link building targets, not your money site, because your money site is all the links are being built to your money site through the G site and the drive stack. So all you do is you hammer away at the G site and the drive stack files and folders, and you push all that relevance through to your money site without an actual physical HTML link pointing directly to your money site, if that makes sense. So that's theme mirroring on a conceptual level. Again, we get into the nitty gritty of this stuff in either RYS Academy Reloaded, the Mastermind, or now even Heavy Hitter Club. Is that correct, Marco?
Yep.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I thought that was perfect. It's just a copy. That's all it is. You're copying over. That's why it's called a mirror. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? You see the same thing.
That's it. And, you know, credit for that theme mirroring, you know, I guess term was from Network Empire from many years ago. And it's great. It just works really, really well. And I love the fact that we, like Marco always calls it, we're in the belly of the beast. And that's what we're doing. Like we're using Google to insulate the money site. And then we push everything into the Google properties, which funnels down to the money site without it ever physically touching, if that makes sense. And it works incredibly well. So, all right, hopefully that helped. Kieran says, no question, just cheers for doing great work. Thank you, Kieran. And let's see, next. Shut up and take my money. We need more people like you, buddy. Muhammad says, hey guys, I ended up buying the Shield. I'll report the results as they come in. Yeah, that'd be awesome, Muhammad. Let us know, please. And I still think that would be a good test for Heavy Hitter Club. Since Marco wrote it down, it would probably get done. All right, BB's back for another set of questions. This time there's 5. All right, so BB, I'll let you slide with 3 earlier. I'm not going to answer all 5 right now, okay? I will answer 1, and if there's any time left, I'll come back. Let's say there is a silo, domain dogs / or to dog food. Okay, is it okay to make the slug of dog food post as simplified form? Domain / dog food instead of subdirectory. Yes, that's the difference between a virtual silo and a physical silo, right? And again, if you just go to our YouTube channel and search for silo structure, just go to youtube.com/semantic mastery, then use the channel search feature and search for silo structure. That's it. The videos that come up, the first 2 videos, there's simple silo structure and complex silo structure. If you watch those are showing how to set up what's called a physical silo, which is showing the silo structure in the permalink, right? So it's a category / post name permalink structure. That's how I used to do it, because I used to like to see it in the URL, but we tested. I haven't tested it recently. I know it's me personally. I haven't tested it recently, but years ago I tested it. But when you're just using the post name permalink structure, as long as your internal linking is done correctly within your silos, so your internal silo linking is done correctly, it makes no difference. At least it didn't years ago, and I'm pretty sure Marco will confirm this, that it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. A virtual silo versus a physical silo. All the internal linking, everything, the hierarchy of your categories and your subcategories and posts, if it's complex, all of that stays the same. The only difference is what is displayed in the URL. And so there is no difference in SEO, whether you use virtual silo or physical silo. And in fact, I recommend using virtual silo now because it makes the URLs less optimized, right? So it less likely to trigger an over optimization penalty for a URL that is hyper optimized with too many occurrences of the same keyword, which is what basically you were asking for here. So yes, virtual silo, post name permalink structure is absolutely effective for silos. Anybody want to comment?
No, that was perfect.
Okay, beautiful. Moving on. Mohammed says, hey guys, one of my real estate clients is moving to a new city and enlisted me to create the GMB. In his old city, his realtor GMB shared a map pin with the brokerage. I believe this may have affected our GMB impressions, but I don't have proof. What should I do with the new one? Do I keep the address shared with his new brokerage or persuade him to move the pin to a new location? That's a good question. Now, I haven't done local SEO for realtors in probably 4 years. But when I did, that was pretty common practice. I'm pretty sure it still is, where a brokerage can have, the brokerage itself has its own GMB listing, but then individual realtors from within that brokerage can also create their own listing, map listing. It's okay. You can do that, Mohammed. Remember, as long as the name, address, phone number, and URL. So we talk about NAP, but URL is part of that, right? So there's 4 data points there: name, address, phone number, URL. As long as 3 of those 4 data points are unique, then you can get away with it. So in this case, the business name would be unique. The address would be the same, but then the phone number would be unique and the URL would be unique. As long as you can achieve that, so the address would be the same, but the business names are different. So for example, let's just use Remax. That's the last time I did local SEO for realtors. It was for a Remax brokerage. So Remax Warrenton, okay, would be the name of the primary brokerage, but then each individual realtor would have their name / Remax, right? Or something like that. That's how you would do it. The business names are different. The address is the same. Phone numbers were different, and the URLs were different because each one of the realtors had their own, landing page or website or whatever. And that makes no problem. It's whenever you start to mix up 2 or more data points that causes ambiguation and NAP issues. So hopefully that makes sense. Anybody want to comment on that? Okay. Nigel's up. Nigel, it's been a while. What's up, buddy? He says, hey guys, thanks for all your help. Appreciate all you do. Or appreciate you all, excuse me. Do you currently white label at all? If not, is there an opportunity to white label with you guys? My problem is that I have been offered a bunch of services to white label, but none that I really know or trust, and I'm naturally skeptical. And there is the ethics issue. Specifically, I'm getting requests for services, but I need fulfillment to be a bit more packaged up and customized for different niches. Not sure that is making sense. But I will say this, and I'm certainly willing to do all the work to write up all the copy for such an endeavor. Like, for example, creating done for you bundle descriptions based on what can work for the average customer. When people trust you, you want to give them something you believe in, but it has to be bundled so you don't confuse them. Yeah, which I completely agree with you, Nigel, which is why we created the SEO Shield, which is just a bundle of all the different components, because we'd been touting use all these different components for years, really. And it was, you know, we kept getting the same questions, and people would buy one service but not the other, and then they would say, oh, well, it doesn't work. And it's whenever we looked into it, it's because they didn't put all the components together like we tell. So that's why we sell the SEO Shield now as a bundled service, because it just makes it so much easier for everybody. So I know what Marco's going to say. I'm going to say it for him first and then let him say. The SEO Shield works no matter what industry you're in, what business vertical, what type of project it is, local, regional, national, global, affiliate, e-com, it doesn't matter, right? So yes, you can white label, because basically you can just create your own landing page with services or products, product bundles, or whatever that you want to call it, that you can sell to your clients, customers, whatever, and then we can fulfill. And you can, you know, bundle them or title them and put descriptions in any way you want. But the SEO Shield will work, doesn't matter what kind of project it is. So it's just about how you package it, right? That's what you're asking. Will we white label? That's what MGYB is. We don't put branding on any of the delivered services. So you can absolutely white label. You just need to come up with copy and packaging them how you see fit, which will speak best to your desired customer. Does that make sense? You want to comment on that, Marco?
Yeah, so basically what he's asking for is MGYB.
Mm-hmm.
That, I mean, well, his comment is, okay, well, I want someone that I know that I can trust. Well, we've priced everything so that people can mark it up, and they can mark it up as much as they want. We've had people charge what was it, $2,000 for a syndication network, and that was a few years back. Remember that?
Yeah.
He had the check. He had the check to look. I just sold it. It was about $2K. And it was a $67 back then. I think it was 47, 67. I forget what it was, but it was ridiculous, the markup. But it's what the market will bear. At any rate, what we've done at MGYB is set up all of our products and services. What we use in our own projects, with our own clients, with whatever it is that we do, what we'll be using in the heavy hitter club, and everything was placed in the store. And it's made available to the general public so that they can go and repeat what we're able to do. We don't just talk about the shit that we do. We don't just, we don't go after these keywords that, as I said, my 18-month-old can rank for. We're going after markets, right? We're going after the top. We're not shy about who we go after. When you decide to go after Amazon, you're not shy about who you're going after, because you got to get after it. Point is, whatever he's looking for, so whatever niche, it makes no difference, because it's going, once he orders it and he tells us the niche is going to be tailored to that niche.
That's right. We
go in and we detail it. We add all of the information, all of the necessary information, images, whatever it is that we need to do to package it for that client and in that niche. And if I was just looking at our deep keyword research, and we've done research, I can't remember how many, but it's across a bunch of niches. And we'll continue doing more and more and more. Drive stacks. I mean, we've done drives from CBD oil all the way, I think, to art supplies. So
to pole dancing classes.
Pole dance, remember that?
Yeah.
Holy crap. So it doesn't matter, Nigel. The niche makes no difference. What you have to do is, as Brady said, set up your own lander, your own store.
That's it.
Or your own way of selling, so that you write it up any way you want. But then all you're going to do is mark it up and then go buy it from MGYB.
That's right.
And maybe if you produce enough volume, I know one of the owners, by the way, Nigel, in case you didn't know. So I can talk to him. And if you produce enough, right, if you're ordering enough, then we
volume discount.
Yeah, I could talk to some of the owners and ask them for a coupon or a volume discount or something that would make it even better for you to go out and sell it.
I know the group of owners, they're a bunch of pricks though, so.
the point is that whatever it is that you're looking to do, it's already set up for you to do it.
Nigel, I don't typically do this unless somebody's in the mastermind, but if you, I'm assuming you're on Facebook, PM me, private message me in Facebook, And I'll shoot you a link to schedule a brief consultation call with me for free so that I can kind of guide you along, kind of get a better idea of what it is that you're trying to do. Because if it's going to help us sell more stuff at MGYB and help you at the same time, then I'm all about giving you a consultation call to kind of help you think through this and develop a little bit of a plan for it. So private message me on Facebook, and I'll shoot you a link to my a Calendly link that you can schedule a call with me in the next week or two. And I'd be happy to jump on a call with you for a few minutes. Okay. Last but not least, this is just a comment, and it's right at the 5 o'clock mark. So thank you for this, Nigel. He says, you bros, you guys are just awesome because you answer everything. I just got to drop some kudos. So many marketers are just going for the money grab, and I'm super happy I found you guys before this gold rush madness. I may be living in a bubble, but it's like the wild, wild west. Thanks, guys. Yeah, well, we certainly appreciate that. This being episode, 284, we've been around the block for many years and we're still here. So, it's not just about the money grab for us. We're very, very passionate about this. So thank you.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next
Bye,
week.
everyone.
All right, bros.
Peace.